we go lose.
Hey guys, this is Eliza from Dusk Reads and welcome back to my channel. Today I will be talking about all the series that I'm DNFing.
Is this what we become?
So if you don't know what DNFing is, it stands for did not finish, and it's just basically series that I am choosing not to finish. As I have a fair few, I'm not going to go into detail about why I'm not going to continue that specific series, but generally it is because I didn't like the first book, or I didn't like the first couple books, and I just don't feel like I need to continue the series. Like, I'm not going to get anything else out of it, and I don't want to force myself to finish a series just because it's there. So yeah, I'll just go through all the series that I'm going to DNF, and I'll tell you guys which books I have read out of the series and which ones I will not be reading. Okay, so the first one is a series that I just recently read and I didn't love. Not series, a book. And that is Daughter of Smoke and Bone by Laini Taylor. So I have read that first book, but I will not be reading Days of Blood and Starlight and Dreams of Gods and Monsters. Okay, next I have the Wild Magic trilogy by C. Line Kernan, and the first book for that is Begone the Raggedy Witches. They haven't actually announced the rest of the series, but it is called a trilogy, so I'm assuming it's going to be a trilogy, but I don't know what the other books are, but I didn't like the first one, so I'm not going to continue. Next we have The Continent by Kira Drake, and again this one doesn't have any more books announced except for the first one, but it does say it's part of a series on Goodreads, so yeah, but I didn't like The Continent, so I'm not continuing the rest of the series. Okay, so next we have the Nevermore series by Jessica Townsend, the first book being The Trials of Morrigan Crow, and the second book is The Wondersmith, I think. So yeah, I've read the first book, didn't enjoy it, so I won't be continuing on to The Wondersmith. I don't know if that's the last book in the series, whether it's just a trilogy or whether it's going to extend, I don't know, but I will not be continuing. Okay, next we have the Winter Night trilogy by Catherine Arden. I have read The Bear and the Nightingale, but I will not be continuing on to The Girl in the Tower and The Winter of the Witch. Next we have the Andromeda Saga, I think that's how you pronounce it, by Sasha Ellsberg and Lindsay Cummings. I have read Zenith. I will not be continuing on to whatever the next books are called. The next series we have is The Wizards of Once by Cressida Cowell. I've read The Wizards of Once, but I will not be continuing on to Twice Magic. Next we have The Runebinder Chronicles by Alex R. Keller? I don't know how to pronounce that last name. I have read Runebinder, but I will not be reading Runebreaker. Next we have The Narcs Invasions by Gabrielle Pendergast, and I have read the first book, Zero Repeat Forever, but they haven't announced the rest of the books, but I will not be reading them anyway. Next we have the Ascari trilogy by Kristen Cicerelli. I have read The Last Name Sarah, but I will not be continuing on to The Caged Queen or whatever the third book is. Next we have The School for Good and Evil trilogy series, I think, by Saman Chini, I don't know. And I'm not going to read out the rest of the books' names because they're all super ridiculously long, but I've read The School for Good and Evil. I will not be continuing the series. Next we have The Stormheart Duology, I think it is, by Cora Carmack. I have read Raw, but I will not be reading on to Rage. Next we have The Beginning by Neslie Clergy. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. The first book is The End of the World. Fucking hated it. Not continuing. Next we have The Wolves of Mercy Falls series by Maggie Stiefvater. I have read Shiver, Linger, and Forever. This was one of those series that was originally a trilogy and now they've expanded another book on, and that book is called Sinner. I read the original trilogy. Didn't really like it, but I fucking flew through this trilogy. But yeah, I will not be continuing on to Sinner. I have no interest in those particular character stories. Next is one that I'm probably going to lose subscribers over, and that is the A Court of Thorns and Roses series by Sarah J. Maas. I've read A Court of Thorns and Roses, A Court of Mist and Fury, and A Court of Wings of Ruin. Didn't particularly like the series. I will not be continuing on to A Court of Frost and Starlight or whatever the hell happens next. I just don't care about these characters, so I'm not continuing. But I did read these three because I owned them. Okay, I'm going to lose followers over this one as well, but who cares? Next we have The Nevernight Chronicles by Jay Kristoff. I've read Nevernight. I will not be continuing on to God's Grave and whatever the third one is. Yeah, didn't like this one, so don't really care to continue. Next we have Flame in the Mist by Renee Ardier. I've read Flame in the Mist. I will not be continuing on to Smoke in the Sun. And no, it's got nothing to do with the covers. I didn't like the fucking book. Next we have the only contemporary in here, I'm pretty sure, and that's because contemporaries generally aren't series. And that is, actually I just remembered another one. Anyway, that is Me Before You by Jojo Moyes. What's the next one called? After You, I think, is the next one. And I think is this the series of his that's getting a third book? I think it is. But yeah, anyway, I didn't like this book at all. I do like the cover, the book itself though, because it's very floppy paperback. I'm gonna go get that other one. Okay, this is one I missed in my list, but I'm putting it in here, and that is the Anna and the French Kiss trilogy by Stephanie Perkins. I will not be continuing on to Lola and the Boy Next Door. Is that it? And Isla and the Happily Ever After. Oh, it's on the back of the book. Yeah, Lola and the Boy Next Door and Isla and the Happily Ever After. It was fine, but it's just a contemporary and I don't really care about contemporaries that much, so I'm not continuing on. Wait, I did lie, there is another contemporary on here. And that is the Aristotle and Dante Discovers the Secrets of the Universe duology by Benjamin Alia Seance. This one isn't necessarily in this because the next book hasn't released and we have no idea when it's coming out, but it's called There Will Be Other Summers. And it has been on there since I read this about 2 years ago, and there's still no information about when the next book is coming out, if it is going to. So yeah, but I will not be continuing anyway because I didn't particularly enjoy this book. And then lastly, we have the Rondo trilogy by Emily Rodda. I have read The Key to Rondo and The Wizard of Rondo. I did enjoy The Key to Rondo. Wizard of Rondo just got a little ridiculous and I just don't care about continuing on to the Battle of Rondo. So yeah, that's all the books that I am DNFing. There is a couple others that I'm iffy about, I don't know if I'm going to continue it. We'll see what happens, but those are the main ones that I know I'm not going to waste my money on picking up the next book. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.